In the quiet of an afternoon, Titi found Obire pacing around their compound, his usual calm clouded by something she couldn't quite read. She watched him in silence until he came to sit beside her, under the shade of a tree. She gently broke the silence. "Obire, my husband," Titi began, her voice soft yet firm. "I have seen the pain you have caused in this house. Your daughters, Onomeogenemi and Ogenero, are no less than our son. They are precious, yet you overlook them as if they are invisible." Obire looked at her, the weight of her words slowly sinking in. He had seen his daughters' quiet faces, the way they watched him, yearning for his approval but never receiving it. For a long moment, he said nothing, then he sighed. "Titi, you speak truthfully," he said, his voice heavy. "I never meant to harm them, but I have been blind. I will make things right." True to his word, Obire began to change. He spoke kindly to Onome, Ogenemine and Ogenero, offering them the warmth and pride he had once reserved for Holy Efianochukwu. He included them in the family matters, shared stories and encouraged them in their studies. He even began to call them my beloved daughters, words he had rarely spoken before. Slowly the daughters opened their hearts, sensing their father's sincerity. The changes did not go unnoticed. Villagers whispered about the new-found kindness Obire showed his daughter, and some even sought him out for advice on raising guests. Yet, behind the scene, Uri, his second wife, found it hard to go for her resentment. Her bitterness has grown deep roots, fed by years of feeling overlooked. She couldn't forgive Obire so easily, not after years of hurt she and her daughters had endured. Her children, young and impressionable, sometimes overheard their mother's quiet anger and felt confused by the tension between their parents. This bitterness would be a seed of conflict. One afternoon, as Titi was preparing a meal, Uri approached her, her face teased. "Titi, do you think a few kind words can erase years of pain?" Uri's voice was sharp. "He ignored my daughters, and now you think he has changed? My daughters have suffered while you and your son thrived." Titi put down the bowl she was holding and looked at Uri calmly. "Uri, I understand your pain, but Obire is trying to make amends. Holding on to his bitterness will only hurt you and your children." In the market the following week, women were speaking of the change in the household of Obire, and some of the elders noticed the tension that still exists between the two wives. A few older women, friends of Titi, encouraged her to try bring Uri closer, suggesting that peace would heal the family. Titi invited Uri to join her at the community gathering, but Uri, her pride wounded, often refused. At home, the tension became unbearable. Obire, caught between his two wives, found it harder to hold his family together. His strength began to wane, and he fell ill soon after. The village healer came, offering him herbs and potion, but his condition worsened quickly. His children gathered around him, helping as best as they could, and despite their efforts, Obire's life slipped away one quiet evening. Obire's death left a void in the household. As news spread, family members, neighbors, and friends gathered to pay their respects. The mourning period was heavy, filled with visits from well-wishers, who brought food and offered their condolence. Elders from neighboring compound gathered to discuss how Titi and Uri would manage the family. As the day passed, the weight of hardship settled heavily in Titi's household. Each morning, she would wake up early, hoping to find a way to provide her children food. But as times went on, it became harder and harder. She could no longer afford to pay their children's school fees, which meant that Ifeanyichukwu had to drop out. This broke Titi's heart, as she had always dreamed of a better future for her children through education. The family struggle were evident to everyone in the village. Once they had been known as the prosperous household of Mr. Obire. Now, whispers of their troubles spread among the villagers, and the neighbors would sometimes quietly leave small portion of food by their doorstep, but it wasn't enough to keep hunger at bay. And most days, Titi and her children barely managed to eat even one meal. One night, after another long day of trying to make ends meet, Titi sat outside under the stars and thought of her brother Pius, who lived in the city. She remembered how close they had been when they were younger. How he had always looked out for her. In her desperation, Titi decided to swallow her pride and reach out to him for help. He explained to Pius the difficult situation, telling him about Ifeanyichukwu's school dropout and the hunger that had become a constant in their lives. Pius listened, his heart aching for his sister, though he didn't have much to spare. He knew he couldn't turn his back on his family. He sent some money to Titi to help her get back on her feet. Then, after a long conversation, he proposed something that brought a glimmer of hope to her. He invited Ifeanyichukwu to come live with him in the city, where he would enroll them back in school and give them the chance to continue their education. When Titi broke the news to her son, they were overjoyed. Despite the hardship, they had longed to return to school. That night, Ifeanyichukwu eagerly packed their few belongings, saying farewell to their friends and neighbors. The villagers gathered to wish them goodbye. With well wishes and prayer for a brighter future, Titi watched them leave. Her heart, a mix of sadness and relief, hoping they would thrive in the city. Meanwhile, Uri was also grappling with her own struggles. She had noticed how life had worn down her daughters, Onome, Ogenemine, and Ogenero. The girls had quietly endured the family difficulties, but Uri knew they were missing out on their education and opportunities too. She thought of her sister Anna, who also lived in the city of Lagos. Although she had tried to manage on her own, Uri finally decided it was time to reach out to Anna for help. When Anna received Uri's message, she didn't hesitate. Unlike Uri, who struggled with forgiving Obire's action, Anna was a kind-hearted and understanding woman. She immediately made plans to visit the village and take her niece with her. The news of Anna's arrival soon spread through the village, and the people whispered in surprise about her generosity. They were curious about this sister of Uri, known for her compassion and generosity, who had come to rescue her niece. On the day Anna arrived, she was greeted warmly by the villagers, who were eager to meet her. They marveled at her gentle nature and the kindness she showed to everyone she met. Anna spent some time with Titi and Uri, listening to their troubles and offering words of encouragement. The bond between the sisters was clear, though it was evident that Anna's gentle nature was in contrast to Uri's bitterness. Anna wasted no time in preparing to take Onome, Ogenemine, and Ogenero to the city. She promised Uri that she would care for them as her own and ensure they would continue their schooling. Uri watched as their daughter packed their belongings, her heart aching but grateful to her sister for giving them this opportunity. As Anna and the girls prepared to leave, the villagers gathered once more. They watched in awe as the three girls, dressed in their simple clothes, followed their aunts to the waiting vehicle. The sight of the children leaving the village to pursue their dreams in the city filled everyone with mixed emotion. Some felt sadness, while others felt a sense of pride, as if the village itself was sending its hope with these children. As Anna's car moved down the dusty road, Uri remained standing there long after, her mind filled with memories and unspoken thoughts. Life changed drastically for Titi and Uri, who now had to fend for themselves. With their protector gone, the family found themselves struggling to keep up with their needs. What had once been a household with plenty now became one of scarcity. Dear listener, do you think this kind of lifestyle still exists in this modern world? Or was it far in the time of our father's century that such thing exists? Let me know your opinion in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching this story. And if you would love me to do the part 3 of this story, kindly type in the comment section, I need part 3. And also click on the subscribe button to get notified when I upload the part 3 of this video. Thank you very much for watching. See you in my next episode. Bye for now.